Some trucks in a SnowRunner are being held back by some minor flaws that are stopping them from unlocking their full potential. So in this video, we're gonna take a look at 8 trucks that could be way better than what they are right now in a SnowRunner. Alright, the first one is Paystar 5600 TS. This truck is very good, it performs well in mud and it's a fast truck. But the biggest issue of this truck is the fuel tank. The fuel tank is too small and the truck is too fuel thirsty. Now, why I think this truck should get some extra fuel. Right now in a SnowRunner, we have a couple of trucks with the long bed add-on, like the Azov Kenworth W990 or FEM 3780. And all of those trucks have access to big fuel tanks or they are very fuel efficient. So Paystar has a really tough time to compete with those trucks, and there is a high chance that most of the people would choose to use those trucks instead of Paystar 5600 TS. And the biggest reason someone would choose not to use the Paystar 5600 is the fuel tank capacity. It's just too small for this truck. Now, it wasn't that big of a problem when Paystar 5600 was released at first, because at that time I think we had only 2 trucks that had access to long bed add-ons, Azov 73210 and Paystar 5600 TS. So if you wanted to use a truck with the long bed add-on, you had to choose one of these 2. So there was a good reason to use Paystar 5600 TS even though it was fuel thirsty. But now with other better trucks in the game, not many people would choose to use Paystar 5600 TS. And it's mostly because this truck is a bit fuel thirsty. So give this truck an extra 50 or 70 liters of fuel. It could be on a roof rack or the fuel tank could get a bit bigger. Now in this case, Paystar 5600 has a chance to compete with other trucks in a SnowRunner. And to be honest, this truck has some really good advantages too. It's just this fuel situation of this truck is really holding it back. The next truck is Derry Longhorn 3194. This is an overall alright semi-truck that we have in a SnowRunner, and it has kind of 2 issues that is stopping me from using this truck. The first one is the turning radius of this truck. The turning radius is just awful. For a semi-truck, this turning radius is really bad. Backing up a trailer with this truck is painful, and turning around and doing a U-turn takes like 10 minutes too. So the turning radius of this truck is really bad. I think it should get a bit better. Now, the second thing is the dead axle. That dead axle is the reason this truck would get stuck on like trees or things like that sometimes. So just give us the option to remove that dead axle. The next truck is International HX 520. This is one of my favorite trucks in the game and it's a very good truck, I love it. But it has one minor issue that is not that big of a problem, I'm not saying that, but the truck would perform way better if we fix that. A raised suspension for this truck would be wonderful. This truck compared to other trucks that we have in a SnowRunner doesn't have that much ground clearance, and because of that, trees or rocks and things like that could be a bit of a problem when you're driving this truck. But a raised suspension would give this truck enough ground clearance, so the rocks and trees are not going to be that big of a problem anymore. The next truck is Azov Sprinter. This truck could be one of the best scouts that we have in the game. It's very fast and it's a capable truck, but compared to some of the scouts that we have in the game, this truck doesn't have anything else to offer. No good amount of extra fuel, no add-ons or things like that. I think this truck would be really one of the best scouts that we have if it was a bit more useful. For example, if we could attach a trailer to it, or if we had a couple of add-ons or a big roof rack with extra fuel and repair parts. All of those things could make this truck really useful and good. Because right now I feel like this truck is not that useful. I know it's a racing truck, but like, how often do you race in a SnowRunner? The next truck is Boar 45318. This truck is extremely good for pulling semi-trailers. It has good turning radius, it has a good powerful engine, and it's a capable truck overall. But the biggest problem that is really stopping me from using this truck is the fuel tank capacity of this truck. This truck is really fuel thirsty, and this is a big issue for a semi truck that you're gonna use it to pull heavy trailers. Because when you're pulling heavy trailers and you're about to encounter a swamp or you're about to go up a mountain or a hill, you will burn a lot of fuel. But with this truck, you cannot afford that. So many times before you can deliver the trailer to its destination, you would run out of fuel with this truck. Other trucks like Collab trucks or Zig 605R, they have access to more fuel and they are more fuel efficient. So most of the times you're gonna use those trucks instead of Boar. But Boar is a very capable truck, it's very good and fast, but because of its fuel tank capacity, not many people would use it. So a bigger fuel tank or some extra fuel on a roof rack would really help this truck. The next truck is Pacific P12, and this is one of those trucks that I really wanna use it, but I just can't find a good reason to use this truck. The first thing that should be added for Pacific P12 is a bed, and the truck has a long enough frame even for a long bed add-on, which I think Pacific P12 should have a long bed add-on, but even a normal size bed would be fantastic for this truck. I really don't know why this truck doesn't have a bed. Now, if we choose to use this truck for logging, for example, the engine is not that powerful, so you're gonna struggle a bit transporting logs with Pacific P12. So in my opinion, Pacific P12 should either get sideboard and flatbed add-ons, or a better engine that you can at least use it for logging. Alright, the next truck is Kenworth W990. Before we get to this truck, I wanna say something. I think a standalone DLCs should be at least average in a SnowRunner. Paying for a truck and getting something like Kenworth W990 is just not that great. That's just my opinion though. But how to make this truck better without making it OP? I think adding all-wheel drive would be really good for this truck, but that might be too good. But a truck that has a dead axle and is not all-wheel drive is just doesn't make any sense in my opinion. Lowering that dead axle and not having all-wheel drive is like just asking for the truck to get stuck everywhere. This truck is very fuel efficient right now, so maybe they could add all-wheel drive for this truck but make the truck more fuel thirsty, or just give you the option to get rid of that dead axle. I think every truck in a SnowRunner should give you the option to choose, do you want that dead axle or not? But right now Kenworth W990 is just not in a good spot, so I think it needs a bit of help. And the last truck is Aramatsu Forester, a fantastic vehicle in my opinion. Like every time I need to deliver medium and short logs, this is the vehicle that I go for. Now, why this vehicle is on this list? So many times I have mentioned Aramatsu as a very good vehicle for logging, but I've seen some people say they don't like this vehicle because it's just too slow, which is a good point. This vehicle is slow and that could be a bit frustrating sometimes. Now, the thing I'd like to see for Aramatsu is diff lock always on. With having diff lock always on, you would get the most out of the high gear with Aramatsu. So without making the truck faster, you just giving it a better option for going faster on dirt and in mud. Now, another reason that I like to see Aramatsu having that diff lock always on is the existence of Kenworth 963. Kenworth 963 is faster than Aramatsu and it has diff lock always on. And you can have so many different add-ons on this truck, including the log loader crane plus any type of logging add-ons that you want. So when you want to deliver short logs or medium logs or even long logs, you can use Kenworth 963 and have the log loader crane on the truck too. So now we have Aramatsu, which is a slower vehicle. It doesn't have diff lock always on, so you can't even go that fast with this vehicle, and you can only use it for logging. So if you ask me, Aramatsu has a really tough time competing with something like Kenworth 963. But that diff lock always on could help it a lot. You can go faster and more people would start using Aramatsu. And that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one.